Hello and thank you for joining me back here at Ready to Ride. This session is going to be a really quick session. It's going to cover a few different areas of your body, working on a mixture of strength and mobility through your spine. So we're going to start off lying on your side, well actually propped up onto your forearm to start off with. And the position you need to be in is what we call the capital L position. So that's a straight line from shoulders, hips to knees, and knees bent to 90 degrees so your feet are out behind you. Rest your top arm onto your top thigh and take your pelvic floor lift up onto floor 3. And then you are simultaneously going to lift your pelvis and top arm over your head and then take everything back down together. Check that the pelvic floor is still onto floor 3 and then off you go again. So gently and slowly going up and down into the lift, concentrating on keeping the pelvic floor ticking along the whole way through. And if you find that the pelvic floor is really hard work to keep it going the whole time, have a good pause between each of your reps. Switch the pelvic floor off and then just engage it on again before you start each of your reps. You're also looking to work on that simultaneous activity of arm and trunk movement, because let's face it, when you're riding there's an awful lot of multitasking and simultaneous activity going on, so it's a good chance to practice. When you finish that one, pop down flat onto your side with your head at the front of your headrest. Bend your knees to wherever feels most comfortable and pop your arms out in front, and we're going to do a mobility exercise here. So you're going to take your top arm up and then out behind as far as you can go, keeping your hand in sight, and then bring the arm back over in front. So it's a really simple movement, but it's a really nice one, because if you start off a little bit stiff, after doing a few repetitions, you'll probably find that the arm goes a lot further. It's important that you keep your hand in sight, and also that you keep your knees together and glued to your mat, because that way you'll make sure that you maximise the movement through your spine and you're not cheating anywhere else. Okay, you can carry on doing more of that one if you want. I'm going to change sides and repeat those two exercises on my right side. So starting off with the side bend again, I'm in the capital L position, propped up on my forearm, straight line, shoulders, hips, knees bent to 90 degrees. Top arm rested, pelvic floor onto floor 3, and then into that simultaneous lift and lower of your top arm and your pelvis. Looking for that smooth, controlled movement, and the pelvic floor staying active throughout. Your pelvic floor is really there to give you that support around your low back and pelvis as you do these movements, so be really strict with yourself that you are actually keeping it active. Do a couple more, working on the quality as much as possible. It's not just about doing the movement, it's making it as good as you can. Okay, and then I'm going to pop down onto my side again, flat, head to the front, knees bent to wherever feels comfortable and natural, arms out in front, and I'm going to once again take my top hand up and out behind as far as I can go, keeping my hand in sight, and then bring the arm back over in front. And just as with the other side, I'm trying to make sure that my knees stay glued together and glued to the mat, and that way I'm maximising the range, and you'll see I'm not as mobile going this way, and I have to work a little bit harder, but that's fine. It's just something I perhaps need to work on a little bit more. Do one more this way. Okay, so I'm going to finish that one and come up into sitting, and I'm going to do a really nifty exercise which is great for working your abdominals, but it's also quite good for your upper body too. It's called a leg pull. There are lots of different leg pulls that we will do. Hands behind you, fingers pointing out behind you. Once again, pelvic floor lift up onto floor 3, so it's ready to support you. But this time you're going to move from your hips, and think of your hips as a hinge as you lift up, and you're aiming for a fairly straight position from shoulders, hips, knees to feet. You don't want to be sagging in the middle if possible, and you don't want to be overarching too high up towards the ceiling. Keep the pelvic floor on as you come back down. If you need to, switch off, give them a breather before you activate the pelvic floor again and come up once again into that lift position. And slowly back down. So you can make this as hard as you like by holding for as long as you don't get uncomfortable. There are variations of this exercise which are harder again, but we won't be covering those today. We'll do those in some later sessions when you've had a bit more of a chance to build up your core. So I'm going to do one more of this one. So up into the lift, hold for 2 or 3 seconds, slowly back down, keeping the pelvic floor going. And there we are. That's the end of that session. Nice and quick. It's targeted quite a few different areas of the body, and hopefully you can fit that in when you've got time. Thanks for joining me for this session, and I hope to see you again soon.